Hello guys, welcome back to the channel Astro's Hub Space Towards Infinity. So guys, in this video I'll be explaining you everything about the NASA's Artemis 1 mission. This is a mission that truly will do what hasn't been done and learn what isn't known. These were the words of Mike Serafin, Artemis 1 mission manager at NASA headquarters in Washington. So guys, now let us know what is so interesting and overwhelming about this mission. So guys, let's start the video. Artemis 1 will be the first integrated test of NASA's deep space exploration systems, such as the Orion spacecraft, Space Launch System or SLS rocket, and the ground systems at Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. So, in this first series, we have Artemis 1, which will be an uncrewed flight test that will provide a foundation for the human deep space exploration. So guys, why this flight is so amazing is because the spacecraft will launch on the most powerful rocket in the world and fly farther than any spacecraft built for the humans that has ever flown. It will actually travel 280,000 miles from Earth. So guys, now let us step by step understand the mission. So the SLS or the Space Launch System and Orion will blast off from the Launch Complex 39B at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The SLS rocket is designed for missions that are beyond the low Earth orbit, carrying crew or cargo to the moon and beyond. So it will produce a thrust of 8.8 million. Also, it will be propelled by a pair of 5-segment boosters and 4 RS-25 engines. So from this map, we can directly understand the stages of the Artemis 1 mission. So as we can see that the 1, 2, 3, 4 positions are where the Artemis 1 is orbiting the Earth. So after the 5th position, since the spacecraft makes an orbit of the Earth, it will deploy its solar arrays and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage or the ICPS, which will give Orion the big push needed to leave Earth's orbit and travel towards the moon. Here we can see in this image that after the 6th stage or between the 6th and 7th stage, the spacecraft is with the Orion spacecraft is with the ICPS or the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. But after the 7th stage, we can clearly see that the ICPS is separated from the Orion spacecraft. So in the A, B and C position, the ICPS will deploy 10 CubeSats in total. So what actually CubeSats are? They are the small satellites. They actually perform the several experiments and technology demonstrations. So that's why the ICPS will also deploy several number of satellites or say the CubeSats in the positions A and B, and where the CubeSats will perform their experiments and the technology demonstrations. So now we can see that the Orion continues on its path from the Earth to orbit the moon. It will be propelled by a service module, which will be provided by which is provided by the European Space Agency, that is ESA, and which will supply the spacecraft's main propulsion system and power. So it will all control the power and the propulsion system of the Orion spacecraft. Also, now as we can see the path of Orion spacecraft, so it will pass through the Van Allen belt. Since Orion has a unique design, so it will start navigating from here, and also it will navigate, obviously it will navigate, communicate and operate in the deep space environment. The outbound trip in the moon will take several days. And in this time, the engineers will actually see the spacecraft system and what is needed, and also correct the trajectory of the spacecraft. Here we can see the orbit of the Orion spacecraft about the moon. So the nearest orbit for the Orion spacecraft will be about 62 miles or 100 kilometers above the surface of the moon, and then and it will be about 40,000 miles or 70,000 kilometers from the moon during the opposite side or the farthest side. Here we can see that the Orion spacecraft might take half revolution or 1.5 revolution about moon's orbit. Like it can like after the 11th position, it might go to the 12th position, then 13 and 14, or it might take one more revolution and come to the 11th position again, and then go to 12, 13 and 14, and then to Earth. So now let us talk about the return and re-entry of the Orion spacecraft. So for the return trip of the Earth, the Orion will also do another close flyby that we can see at the position number 13. It will do a close flyby near the moon's orbit, which is about 60 miles from the moon's surface, and due to the close orbit or the close flyby of the Orion spacecraft to the moon's orbit, to the moon's surface, it will get the moon's gravity, and also here there will be another precisely timed engine firing from the which is provided by the European Space Agency. So both the factors, the engine firing and the moon's gravity, will help the Orion spacecraft to accelerate back to the Earth. So from position number 13 we can see it will go to position number 14, which will lead the Orion spacecraft towards the Earth. There is one more purpose of this mission, that is the testing of Orion spacecraft's heat shield. The Orion heat shield. The Orion heat shield, as we can see, it is made to protect the Orion from extreme temperatures. Like if we look upon what will be the temperatures of the Orion spacecraft while entering the Earth's surface. So the speed of the Orion spacecraft will be about 25,000 miles per hour or 11 kilometers per second. This is also known as the Mach 32, speed. Also, it will produce temperature of approximately 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, or we can say 2,760 degrees Celsius. So before this mission also, Orion has experienced the heat temperatures while entering the Earth. So in the 2014 flight test, also Orion experienced the speed and the temperature, but this is more faster and more hotter than what Orion experienced during its 2014 flight test. So actually, NASA has planned for three Artemis missions, that is Artemis 1, Artemis 2 and Artemis 3. The first Artemis mission will send the crew capsule into orbit around the moon for about 6 weeks, allowing NASA to test a series of critical systems like the life support. Artemis 2 thereby will follow the similar path like the Artemis 1, but it will have astronauts on board. Then Artemis 3 will carry people to the moon's surface. So this mission is also about to show that the spacecraft can travel on the rocket. Like we saw that the Orion spacecraft is actually on board on the rocket or the space launch vehicle or space launch system, and to show that it can also separate from the SLS and can return back safely. This mission is also significant because it is opening a way or the door for the first woman and the first person of color to set foot on the moon. So like as we said that in the Artemis 3 it will carry people to the moon surface, so that's what it is carrying a way, or it is paving a way for person of color or the first woman to set a foot on moon. Hope you guys liked the video. Thank you so much for watching the video patiently. Also subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that you will be notified about such interesting videos in future.